Hello, hello. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the quick selection tool. So as you might remember in the last video, we used the object selection tool. Now we're going to use the quick selection tool, and it's a little icon with a looks like a brush because it's sort of like using a brush technique to create a selection. So if you go up here, you can see we have adjustments like you would in a brush. You can change the size here. You can also change the size by using the bracket keys like you can with other brush tools. And also, this is extremely important. There's this option where it's just going to select what you click on, and then if you click again, it automatically selected it to the plus. That's interesting. So usually you're going to want it on the plus, which means you're just going to keep adding selections as you click, or on the minus, deselecting areas as you click. Okay, so let's select this little pine needle area. Let's see, I'm going to go to select, deselect to just sort of start fresh. And whenever you're doing selections, it's a really good idea to zoom in so you can really see carefully what you are doing. A couple other options I want to draw to your attention. Sample all layers. If you had a photo that had multiple layers in it and you wanted to sample through the layers, make sure that that is selected. This is just one layer here, so I don't need it. Enhance Edge makes the selection a little bit smoother. It smooths out rough areas. Okay, so depending if you want to have very specific jagged object selection, then you might not want that on. But here I want kind of smoother edges, so I'm going to keep that Enhance Edge clicked. All right, so basically I want to make sure that's on plus, and I'm just going to click on the areas that I want selected. And you can see it's doing a pretty good job of finding the edge. If you have something that is the same color as your background and very subtle, you might have to go in and be more careful about selecting. So the smaller the brush size, the more specific it's going to be about its selection. So I have a very tiny brush here, and you can see how it's kind of grabbing. If I were to make it a much larger brush, see how I grabbed a much larger area? So, be as efficient as you can. If it's doing a pretty good job with a larger brush, great. But if you are going to maybe the tip of a very small, a very tiny bit of the photo, you don't want any of your pixels to go outside of that edge, because I would be telling in this photograph, to grab some of that black. So you really have to adjust the size of your brush as you go along and do a quick selection tool. Make this a little bit larger. Now notice it is grabbing some of the black, and you might not want that. The more specific your selection, the better it's going to look when you say if you were to move this into another photograph or something. So what I suggest you do is go through and basically grab what you want, and then go to the minus and fine tune it. See how there's this little bit of gray I don't want, and then I need to make my brush size a little smaller using the bracket keys, and then I'm basically taking out these little black areas from my selection. All right, so the more time you spend on your selections, the better they're going to be, and the better your final result is going to be. I'll try to just do this really quick. I don't want to spend too much more time in this video, but just get some of those black areas out, that background. Okay, so once you have an object selected, for this tutorial, what I want you to do is to go to the adjustment layer icon, go to Hue Saturation, click on the Colorize button, and then play around with hue. Just so that you can kind of see how this gives you an idea of how good your selection is. You can see what's changing color. And this looks pretty good. And so change it to something kind of fun, surreal, different than you would normally see in real life, and turn it in. Thanks.